Hi, this is Vanessa Martinez. I'm the editor of the Content Marketeer. I'm here at Online Marketing Summit 2012. Right now I'm standing next to Joe Pulizzi, who is the founder of the Content Marketing Institute. Hi Joe, thanks for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me, I appreciate it.
Yeah, and so you're going to talk tomorrow. Tell me a little bit about what you'll be talking about here.
Tomorrow we're going to talk about the difference between good and great content. So the one thing that we've noticed here at Online Marketing Summit is that everybody's talking about content, but nobody talks about the process for how it gets done and really the importance of it. And it's sort of bothersome a little bit. So we're going to talk about what the process is, why it needs to be so important, how you integrate it into the company, and really what separates, what I would say, if you look at good to great content marketers, what's the separation point, and look at some brands that are doing it well.
Yeah, that's great. That's what we like to hear at the Marketeer. And I think we also take for granted at the Marketeer a lot, and a lot of people who are in the content marketing world, that everybody who is coming into it knows who you are because you've had such an impact on forming the industry. But for the people who are just coming to us right now, kind of give us some background on where you're coming from with that between good and great, and how you are, gauging that, what your experience is and what gives you kind of that insight.
Sure. So I came from the publishing background. So more than a decade ago, we were doing custom content projects for very large brands in North America, and then left and ultimately started a Content Marketing Institute because the biggest pain that we see right now in organizations is all around content. So if you look at, what's happened just the past couple of years? We've got social media, we've got search engine optimization, we got lead generation. What is the fuel behind all three of those? It's content. And it's great content, it's great storytelling. And the problem we're seeing is a lot of marketers almost think about, let's go get the content after the fact. We got a campaign, let's go get the content. And the other thing is, they think about it as a campaign. Content marketing is not a campaign. Right? This is our promise to our customers. So we have to make sure how are we going to keep that promise up and deliver them really great storytelling on a consistent basis. And by the way, our consumer is completely in control. And since that's the case, they're going to search for it however they want to. They're going to find it however they want to. And in order to keep those direct connections and create our own media channels, we have to think like a publisher. We have to think like a media company. And I think most companies still aren't doing that. I mean, if this was a baseball game, 9-inning baseball game, we're just getting out of the dugout right now. So we've got so much evolution to really see a marketing department really evolve into looking and feeling more like a publishing department.
That's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, actually. So when would you say you really kind of, if you had to put a year on it, you kind of started, I want to go into, not into the prediction and not too much into the future, but kind of where we're at, because I think it can be really hard to gauge for a lot of people. Like, some people are thinking, like, is this a trend, or is this, and I think just to give some history of like where we're coming from more than where we're going.
I think it's important first content marketing has been around for hundreds of years. I always like to point to John Deere custom magazine they created in 1895 because farmers were having a lot of problems and they didn't know all the new technology. And John Deere said, well, in order for us to actually sell our technology, our equipment, we need to educate them first. So they created the Furrow magazine, which, by the way, is still published today in 40 countries and 1.5 million circulation and digital and print and all that good stuff. But it tells you that, it's been done forever, but most companies have been doing it as a silo. I always just say the dirty little secret were that the content departments and brands, they were always like, if you would go way down to the end of the hall and then go down a couple flights of stairs and then way back in the corner by the boiler, that was the content team. Well, now the content team is all of a sudden really important because none of the other things we're doing is going to work unless it's compelling and interesting, because customers don't care about us. They don't care about us. They don't care about our products and services. They care about themselves. So we have to show that we care about our customers by giving them great, compelling storytelling information, whether it's helpful or entertaining. Now, just to put a time limit on it, this is, in some ways, we seem like we've been doing it a while, but if you really look at it, we're just a speck. We've just started. We're not even close to a mature model when it comes to content marketing. We even talk with some of the biggest brands around. They've just got a couple people in 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 person marketing department that are starting to take this on. They have lots of content people, don't get me wrong. There's a content person for email, content person for social, got one for PR, you got one for customer service, but they're not talking to each other. And there's not somebody that has a nose for the story. That's why we have Chief Content Officer magazine, because we're trying to promote the position of who's going to look out for the story, the customer story, as well as the brand story. That's the Chief Content Officer, whatever you call it. That's the role, and we need more of those. So I think we're going to start seeing more of those roles, and it's just started.
So more of a holistic strategy behind the actual content creation.
Well, yeah, you can put it any way, right? You can say, oh, I need a demand gen strategy, or I have just a marketing strategy or a social media strategy. Well, you can't start with any of those until you say, well, what's the content strategy? How are we going to be compelling in the first place? And how does it link up with our sales? Like, ultimately, we want to sell more products and services, right? But we have to focus on our customers' needs, like a magazine would, like a media company would, that's giving away great information all the time. It's that intersection, it's that secret sauce that makes the difference. Most marketers don't get that. So they're either selling all the time, or they create really good content but don't have the link with how I'm going to show worth of this. How am I going to get, talk to the CFO at the end of the day and say, all these resources are worth it, and here's why. It's not easy to do, by the way. I think the biggest thing is, and we'll talk about this in the session tomorrow, is this is hard. I mean, frankly, putting an ad up somewhere is easy. I don't want to discount creative process, because, of course, it takes, but day in and day out, creating compelling content, multiple channel, is the hardest thing in marketing that I know to do. And so it's always easier to say, let's just put an ad and draw some attention, instead of keeping that attention and earning that attention day in and day out. That's very hard to do.
Well, and I know you're going to talk about this tomorrow, but because I'm not going to get to talk to you again tomorrow, can you give me can you give us a little peek into a company that you see that's doing, or a brand that's doing this, really just kind of hitting it out of the park right now?
So yeah, I'll give you a couple of examples. There's not all the way there, but there's some really good samples from a buyer persona standpoint of Procter & Gamble. I love to look at what they've done with HomemadeSimple.com, targeting kind of the mom on the go, or BeingGirl.com, targeting the adolescent woman, or ManOfTheHouse.com, targeting dudes like me. And with really compelling, interesting content specifically to that person, just like a media company would, and building a database. This is new, right? I mean, consumer companies never were building databases, but now they are. I mean, now it's getting into marketing automation, getting into things that they never thought they'd be doing. Loyalty programs. So this is all very, very new from that standpoint. On the B2B side, I love OpenView Venture Partners. They're a venture capital company out of Boston, and in 2009 they were doing no content. And Scott Maxwell, the CEO, said, read one of my books. We talked, and he said, we buy into this 100%. Let's do it. And in a matter of 18 months, and over 1,000 pieces of original, fresh content, video content, podcast content, blog content, 90% participation of the employee base, because it takes a cultural shift to do this. And he will tell you that it is the biggest driver for them in new business and keeping it's a retention and an attraction initiative. And they've signed up more than 10,000 people to their email newsletter, which for a consumer company is nothing, but for a B2B company is something amazing, especially a VC company. 10,000 people said, yeah, we want to receive your content. That's really saying something, and that's changed their whole company and their whole culture around that. So it's just a really good example. For those who want to check it out, go to just type in OpenView Labs, and you'll see they've got a content platform that is just amazing content. And so if a VC company can do it, I think anybody can do it.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. One of the things that we talk about a lot, obviously, because we are a content marketing platform, is tools. And for people, whether you're just getting in or have been an expert in the area, I'm not asking you for necessarily brand names, but what do you think are some of the most important things people need to be thinking about right now so they can stay focused? Yeah.
Jeez. So I think the process of the content creation and distribution, there's so many tools around that process, whether my editorial calendaring tool, how does that calendaring tool work as a project management system internally with all my writers and inside the company and outside the company, because you have many different content creators, review processes of that content, figuring out the type of engagement you're getting to that content, what's working, what's not working, so that we can continually evolve the content program. I mean, there's one tool, there's two tools, there could be 5 tools there, depending on the size of the company. You've got marketing automation platforms that come into that. Email, of course, then you're talking about email. You've got social plugins that go with that. So I think the job of a marketing person today, especially a content marketer, you have to understand the technology. It's almost like it's part of your job now. You have to understand this, because if you're doing this manually, you are way behind. And there's so many great tools, not to promote your company, but like Kapost and like a lot of other ones that are out there, to make sure that are we leveraging the content assets we have to the best of our ability today? Doesn't mean tomorrow, but today, right now. Because tomorrow is, I mean, we're 6 months out in content marketing. It's like 10 years. We're going so fast. So let's work with what we have now, work with what you can do, automate what you can. But none of that automation works unless we have something compelling, and that's why I would say look at your staffing, either insource or outsource really good storytellers. It could be in the company, it could be freelancers, it could be an agency, whatever the case is. There's a lot of resources out there to use those technologies so you can make sure you attract and retain customers.
Yeah. And one of the things that you didn't mention is something that you actually do, which is conferences. Because I think from a lot of perspectives, the conferences are great tools. I mean, this is where we talk to each other and we learn about, the things that we need to learn about. So for people who don't know what Content Marketing World is, give us a little background.
So Content Marketing World is for that Chief Content Officer role. Of course, we target all levels of marketing manager and PR manager up to senior level and executives and CEOs of small businesses. But this is home for those people that are in control of that content process and a brand. And there wasn't one like this. So Content Marketing World was created in September. We're blessed to have it be very successful. Again, it's September 4th, 5th, and 6th, 2012 in Columbus, Ohio, Columbus Convention Center. Expecting a lot of people, bigger and better than ever. The best of the best brands will be there, small, medium, and large. And we're really focused on getting practitioners there to talk about what they're doing right and wrong, what we can learn from. And the best thought leaders in the world are going to be there. And if you want to check out the agenda and the speaking lineup, just go to contentmarketingworld.com. But we're pretty excited about it this year. We got a bigger venue this year because we sold out last year, and we just got that's as big as we can get. So this year we've got the convention center, so we can really expand and draw a lot of people and have it be a major event this year.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we're definitely looking forward to being there.
Well, we know you'll be there. So.
Yeah, of course. And thanks for talking to me today, Joe.
Thank you.
And good luck tomorrow on your presentation. I'm looking forward to hearing.
Wonderful. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. That's Joe Pulizzi of the Content Marketing Institute, and this is Vanessa Martinez signing off for the Content Marketeer.